you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Memories. Memories.
crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. He's just gonna solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Adelaide immediately comes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to another wonderful week. We are here for week 3 of CGL Season 15. Oh my goodness, open tier coming at you guys. We have the Amphibious Gaming versus Potato Pillagers coming up on deck. I'm Evo, joined by the wonderful Ray. How are we feeling about this match coming up tonight?
We're feeling absolutely fantastic. Both teams absolutely talented. Potato Pillagers made the playoffs last year, hoping to continue to keep that streak alive. And it's just going to be that much exciting. I believe we're just 1 week outside perks coming to CGL2. So very excited. We gave the teams 1 week to start tinkering with stuff before we make it live.
I know, so glad we've gone for that option. And you know, perks, after experimenting with it in the scrim environment, it is such a really a refresher in Overwatch 2. It really does put the 2 in Overwatch 2. I mean, I also add at the same time. And I actually cannot wait for next week at the same time to see how some perks maybe look working better for other teams than others, what comps we're going to run between each perk. It's just so much layers that perks have added. But that's for next week. This week, we're still going with nice, vanilla, basic Overwatch 2. No perks needed, just full, raw gameplay and fundamentals will be carrying both of these teams as they now have to duke it out in this week's map pool, of course. Always a little bit different every single week, but for this week, of course, we're going to be starting things off on Ilios for control, and then moving on to the GOAT, Kings Row, then Minasapi, and if we have further maps to go towards, it's going to be New Junk City, into Shambali, into a, hopefully not needed, a 6th control map to break a tiebreaker. But honestly, these teams, they're both pretty good at solidifying without having to go to that map 6th tiebreaker.
It's really interesting the way this map pool ended up working out. It's like dive, brawl, and then whatever you want on Shambali, I guess. But it's a very interesting map pool. I can't wait to see how these teams are going to take the meta that we're currently in and apply it. You know, Hazard is still very good, but a lot of dive tanks have been making their way back in, seeing Divas of the likes, Winstons of the likes, Wrecking Balls. So it's not just a hardcore Hazard meta like we're used to.
Definitely heavy on the Wrecking Ball. Oh my goodness. And Doomfist making a reappearance for some reason in my scrim environment.
Yeah, good point.
Like, oh my god, if you've been there, Ray, oh, I know you've been there. The Dooms have been in my scrims. I'm like, why are we, you know what? This isn't even worth it. Locking out.
Literally, Texas A&M White, which is like this the B team for Texas A&M Collegiate, they've been climbing their ranks literally with Doomfist comps. Like, it's crazy.
It's insane. And again, it just goes to show the way that this game just keeps changing. We were so used to what was first about the Amalgam meta, then it evolved into Orisa, then now it evolved into Hazard, and it just keeps changing because Hazard didn't really last all that long, arguably, maybe like a month, 2 months, and then suddenly, boom, we're into a meta where it's just kind of dive in general, which if you're a real Winston fan like the rest of us, dive good. We love dive around these parts, and Ilios, what a better way to start things off, especially if you're going over to Lighthouse. Honestly, the Winston on a Brig central area, some backline changes can be seen, as well as we do have hero bands active as well for the CGL Season 15 tournament, and that's also very interesting, as of course we have to see exactly what Amphibious Gaming are going to be banning first and foremost as we load into Ilios.
Yeah, I was going to say that one thing that can make this Ilios map that much more interesting is the hero bans. Because, you know, of recently, I have been seeing a lot more Hazard for this map for dive. Like, you get Gibraltar, you get Winstons, you get Dorado, you get Divas. This map has been more Hazard heavy, but all of these bans can absolutely change everything. And then I also think, you know, it can change a lot if you say, hey, we accept that Hazard's going to be on this map. So maybe they look to ban some of the DPS, which change up the comp a little bit.
Yeah, and kind of frees up those extra angles that could be really devastating on Ilios, especially on Ruins, especially on Well. Lighthouse at the same time has really good oppressing high ground on opposite sides of the control point. But Tracer, honestly, great choice. Really good at just kind of negating the point. Gonna be the first ban coming in from Amphibious Gaming. I mean, I don't disagree at all, but that does mean, as a refresh reminder, in consecutive maps going in, Amphibious can no longer ban Tracer, but Potato Pillagers can ban her in other maps.
Not gonna lie, folks, I think we're gonna see a lot of Tracer bans in our future, considering those perks that Tracer got. Oh my gosh,
goodness.
Tracer's gonna be absolutely busted next week when they come in. So Very excited for that. See, that's the thing. So, like, when you are playing these hazard comps, Tracer tends to be one of the DPS you play with it. Easy substitution. You normally play the Genji with that, or, maybe you throw in an Echo here or there, but it's all going to be dependent on what Potato Pillagers go with next.
Absolutely, and it could be support, it could be a tank, because it is gonna be support, and it is gonna be. Why would you ban Lucio on Lucio's map? This is so sad. It's like banning Winston on Gibraltar. Like, this is so depressing. So Lucio and Tracer both being banned, kind of solidifying, not gonna get as many of those environmental kills. Speeding around not really gonna be a factor either. Tracer not gonna be able to contest a point while the fight's happening elsewhere. Two really big characters that do make a difference in control. So I don't hate the bans. I actually really like them. But Lucio, no! I love my little Lucio guy going around the map and doing his Lucio thing. But
well, to me, that's a huge wrinkle into these hazard comps that you're so used to seeing. You play it with the Lucio Kiri, and then if Kiri gets banned, you normally substitute that with like a Juno. So you're in this situation now where you're down two key important heroes to play these hazard comps. I would look to abandon the hazard. I think on this dive map now, I think you go Winston and you go Brig on at this point. I think you got to go to traditional dive now.
Oh, absolutely, 1000% agree. Especially on Lighthouse and even on Well, that could absolutely work.
Yeah.
I think on Ruins you can kind of mix up a little bit with more of you can do a little bit more brawl or some kind of variation of it.
Or you pull
but
like
I
an
think
Orisa or something like that.
yeah, like Orisa can be really good. You can pull out like a JQ if you really want to be a little snazzy with it. Hazard might end up being the tank of choice, however, on all three of those maps because he's just so flexible with a lot of the other characters that are in the game, and you still have Genji unlocked, you still have Sojourn at the helm at the same time, and you can always go for on a Brig backline. It still works. They have good areas to hide out. They can still get those nades off, especially. Oh, I was about to say bounce, the double bounce, but I forgot. That's week 4. That's not week 3, baby. We're dealing with regular old nade. Does not bounce, so it might miss a couple of times. But that's a-okay. I will be really happy if we do see a Winston on a Brig. A classic kind of dive come into Ilios.
Yeah, I think it's tough. The Lucio is very integral with that hazard comp because he has mobility, but it's not like he has like super high mobility like a diva. It's like he gets in there and he needs the ability, like if he kind of gets trapped there, for the Lucio to be able to speed him out of there and get him into a better position to set up one of those jump slash combos again. So given that, I think Winston or diva with like the Brig Ana is going to be key. Winston has those big leaps to get in and out, and then being able to partner that up with the nades to find quick, fast kills. I think that's going to be your path to victory on a map like Ilios.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And at the same time, you also have, that's just like Lighthouse and Well we're talking about at the same time, but also take into account, you could always get those snipers coming in on Ruins at the same time, those Widowmaker high grounds, really good for that character specifically, as well as a Sojourn, an Ashe. Things like that are also pretty solid if you have to go for more of a, I don't want to say unconventional pick, but Ashe a little bit more unconventional. Sojourn and Widowmaker are pretty much classics on that Ruins sub map at the same time. But yeah, I think we are, with the Lucio being banned here, it's just it's just so weird. So many things have to kind of revolve around Lucio that are simply isn't there anymore.
Well, because you have to keep in mind with Lucio off the table, not only can you not really play the hazard dive as well, but it takes all or most brawl and rush compositions off the table.
Yep.
Like, you're not going to play a whole lot of Reinhardt or Rissa, Zarya kind of situations. So it very limits the scopes of the comps you're going to play, just because of the utility of that speed boost is so important, which because of that, if you do want to play those compositions, the Juno tends to be like the next best thing because you have that speed ring.
Yeah, but and it's a little bit easier to spot out the Juno speed ring. Actually, a lot easier than in Lucio M speed. Besides hearing the sound cue for it, but like you said, and how we were mentioning earlier, it looks like we're going for a little more of a traditional dive here with the Winston on a Brig on the side of Potato Pillagers with Saya on that Widowmaker. However, Amphibious going in for the same kind of deal. There is, of course, that Jimmy you were talking about earlier, and those hyper rings are going to be pretty solid, at least to get your Genji and your Soldier around. Well, Soldier has legs, but It's the convenience of it all. It's the principle of it all with the Juno here. Once again, the band being Lucio and Tracer. So it's gonna be interesting to see how exactly the two Winstons with the Anas. I think the eye has to be looking at Get Wrecked and Vampiric here. Big fight coming in really fast here from the double Winstons at the same time, and a point kind of right in control of Amphibious Gaming. Beautiful high ground control, forces last-handed back up, help the team out a little bit. Big sleep forces the Artane to go back, Zio to go back to the team here, and now point has been unlocked. Point still looking in favor of Amphibious, but that's why I would say without Sai, I mean, just getting 2 picks by themselves.
Yes, Saya player is very talented DPS player. The one issue I have with what Amphibious is playing here, I do not like the Ana Juno combo here. It's going to be a very susceptible, very diveable backline. Like the Brig is there to protect your Ana, and Juno is just as squishy and easy to take down as an Ana. So, for last night, you're going to be able to easily feast off of this backline. Same with Curious.
Completely agreed here. I completely believe in the box crosshair. By the way, you put the head in the box and you shoot, and it works out every single time. Super low there, Zeal trying to go for an approach on that Widowmaker, but getting super low on that health means that we need to back up, go back to our Ana, and that allows Saya to get that distraction off and take down Noodle, and at the same time, last night following up on Natural. That's a done team fight, and honestly, arguably, nothing really happened.
Yeah, again, that was Saya once again finding an early pick onto Noodles on the Genji. So that to me, what these first 2 fights has shown is you have to find a way, find an angle, find a way to put pressure onto Saya and not allow them to have free angles to find picks.
Completely agreed with you, and it's not really going to be starting much strongly there again for Amphibious Gaming. Zio getting anti-nated, has to back up. Noodle once again a victim here as they force the resource to be used defensively from Get Wrecked, and again, just kind of being put in through the ringer against last night, and honestly, the rest of the force of the Pillagers here, and again, now they're able to push everyone back to that spawn room. Get Wrecked going to be able to come back relatively soon with that Nano almost online here. Vampiric already having expended their own, and Saya also having used the Widow sights there. Now we have Natural going over to their own Widow.
Yeah, we also
on the
have
Sombra.
Off the Genji going over to the Sombra. So it's really interesting. And Natural already finds a pick, making the Widow swap already worth it.
Oh, absolutely. 1,000 days a week. You will always take that trade-off. Especially when Sai is able to find the pick, the backward pick onto Noodle, but Noodle gets a Pulse Ominous Virus kill onto Curious. I mean, it's a back and forth trade-off, and Amphibious Gaming kind of are able to take the point right underneath Potato Pillagers' noses as they're forced to disengage with the rest of the team here and just kind of give up that objective.
The only thing you have to worry about if you're Amphibious is, are these swaps too little too late? You're already facing down basically 99 Zeus. So you're going to completely reverse sweep this. And Potato Pillagers coming really close to 3 ults to be able to use for Potato Pillagers.
Yeah, they have that rally. They have the Primal coming up and the Blade. No Nano with it quite yet from Vampiric, but maybe they'll be able to waste some time to get that Nano online. But, I mean, you take care of Noodles. That's just a game for last time to go in with that Primal offensively and put all the pressure on the back line here and honestly just kill them all. Zio forced to use the Primal just to contest the objective against the force of the Ana Brig from the Pillagers. Zio going up in the air, goes to the corner, sub 300 health, no longer in the Primal, forced the bubble, and that is the pressure all dead and dealt with onto Zeal. Blade still ready for Curious, and is it gonna be enough? We get the teleport in for last minute touch from Noodle, but besides everyone else just kind of trickling in, I am pretty much safe to say this is gonna be in favor of the Potato Pillagers.
Yeah, Curious didn't even really need that Blade. In the first fight before that Blade came out, he was able to find 2 opening picks without even needing it. And again, that speaks to that backline of the Ana Juno being so susceptible, so squishy, easy targets. You have to hope that you hit a good sleep and then you can separate and get away.
Absolutely. And now we go over to Well. Going from Ruins to Well, it's going to be allowing them, it's going to allow both teams to kind of stick with that Winston, with that Ana. And I want to see a Rose if she'll swap over to the Brig or, I was going to say Lucio, but you can't, to the Brig even, just to kind of negate or at the very least help be toe-to-toe with the survivability of Vampiric and One Trick Brig's own backline. So as we get started here, we are seeing a slight swap here. Echo duplicates coming on, but now versus the Genji and the Sojourn of Curious and Natural.
I mean, not a surprise here. You know, Widow's not going to be that conducive on this map, but I think Echo is probably one of the best sub maps in the game for Echo. One interesting, I think Natural was expecting them to go to the Echo, so they are going to have the hit scan ability to target them in the sky with the Sojourn. But Curious, again, it's going to be able to go after that backline of the Genji. So what's going to be more favorable?
Ooh, what's favorable is that trade-off, and you trade your tank for Natural there at the same time, so it's a little bit of a hairy situation. If you can put a lot of pressure onto Zeal, who's still withstanding in this fight, that's great for Potato Pillagers, but I think they went for honestly, the smarter route of regrouping, putting pressure, and getting cooldowns out of Zeal and Noodle, and just regrouping back with Last Night here for the next engagement. 10% on the board already, no ultimates, but closest to Noodle's own duplicate.
Yeah, you can't really push into that fight without your Winston. So I think that was a smart decision. And Saya getting taken down as great jump in the air from the side of Zeal to combo with those pot shots from Noodle. Now they find Last Night, and Amphibious has finally found their footing.
Completely agreed there. I mean, it's a complete difference of what happened round 1 versus round 2, where it looks so dominated by the Potato Pillagers, but suddenly Amphibious Gaming, they put Noodle on that Echo, they put Natural on that Sojourn, and they've gotten a free 40%. But yeah, like you said, that is really detrimental. Now they're forced to put some gas to the pedal on the metal here against the side of Potato Pillagers, who have gotten the first pick off onto Noodle, and they can kind of start pushing everyone back, which is what they're doing. Look at the aerial pressure coming in from Sai at the same time. That's great. And now we're gliding through this roof, and they don't even know. They're none the wiser, Ray. None the wiser that there's the Echo my back line, and they're about to kill everybody.
You get the, oh, there you go. There are the picks coming in. They do end up getting Saya, but you got all the picks you needed. This should be a point flip for the side of Potato Pillagers, and now they found their angle in. That was great pressure coming out from Saya. We're going to need to see more of that. It did cost them the nano in that fight. Amphibious was able to hold on to all the other ultimates, but great trade for Potato to be able to flip that point, finally get some pressure on your side before they got too high on the percentage. So even if Amphibious ends up getting the flip, you're going to have an opportunity to re-engage on these attacks.
Shout out to Vampire. Vampire said, oh, no hit scan, don't worry. I'm playing Ana. Don't worry about it. Getting 3 kills by that last fight was really, really solid for Vampiric, and, you know, helping secure that objective win in Potato Pillagers' favor. Now we're going straight for the dive onto Natural. And Curious trying to help out. Is not even really got the mega pack, the mini pack there, unfortunately. Has to retreat back to the dome here, and now getting pushed by Noodles, and Noodles bit a little bit too much, and then they can chew there. It gets shut down by Curious and the dash here, and again, the support's kind of up by the Lonesome. Finally, here is the attacking Primal coming in from Zeo to help, you know, maybe negate the fight a bit here, and just like that, hold on. While we're talking about the fight that looked like it was so in favor of the Potato Pillagers, the objective somehow flipped back to Amphibious Gaming, getting 20% extra. We go for the rally, and that's going to be the backline looking a little bit worse for wear for the Potato Pillagers. Oh, but Zeo Zeo does not look any better, however.
Yeah, that's when I yelled no. They just let the point flip for free in the middle of that fight, and now they get up to 86%, so it's going to make your re-engage fight that much harder, where you're just going to be trickling in at that point. Amphibious coming back in, and they're going to have this orbital ray. You used your rally in the fight. This is going to be a really tough battle for the Pillagers.
It is, but Curious has that Dragon Blade online, and Vampire can get this nano. Oh, no nano needed, just a little blade in 2025. No nano, no nothing. We get 2 for that at the very least. Curious goes down, Middle getting 2 as revenge for their team. And once again, Ray, we flip it right underneath the noses in the midst of battle. And it's going to be a side player possibly getting, oh no, able to get their way out before ideally not getting his dagger. 96%, 3% left. And I'm not even sure they're going to be able to touch if it's even worth touching. But it's going to be one trick break. Taking the reins, going in there by themselves. Big anti-nade comes through onto Zeo, forcing the back up. Even better defensive nade from Get Wrecked. And now it's a trade-off of backlines. Last night going in on one backline, Zeo on the other. Now it's a scrap. Complete scrap here. Last night trading off for Noodle. Saya player once again popping off with this Echo pick, which has been so amazing throughout the entirety of the Well submap. Natural on the Sojourn getting super low there, trying to get a couple picks there, but the Primal finding a couple kills, even a little environmental kill. However, that's all that we needed for a round 3 of Ilios.
Yeah, Zeal showed out on that map on the Winston, had complete map control, just owned that submap. Now they send them to map number 3. It's all going to come down to Lighthouse. The big question is, what kind of changes do these teams make Okay. We got Amphibious. We got Git going over to the Brig instead of the Ana. So Brig Juno definitely better than Ana Juno. I mean, because now basically the Juno's playing the position of the Ana and the Brig Ana. So I like that. I still like having those anti-nades, especially for Winston compositions. It's natural going over to the Cassidy for the sub map as well.
Very interesting conversation. No swaps really coming in from the Potato Pillagers, kind of believing in that classic dive with the Genji to help execute any kills started by Saya there, right? But, I mean, that's it. Boom. One pick needed was that honing beam, that focus being onto Noodle. They're super low. Then last night, able to find the pick onto Get Wrecked at the same time. Means that in 3 seconds, this point should pretty much go in favor of the Potato Pillagers, and they're going to have time to set up for the next engagement.
Yeah, especially since you got the Brig late in that fight as well, because you could have said, okay, you know, smart thing for Amphibious was get out. By the time the point caps, will be ready to re-engage, but not with that late Brig pick.
Ooh, big fly. Seetong, the other opposing Echo here. Beautiful tracking, but it's Vampiric, who has been pretty much unchecked, finds Noodle in place of Saya. So we've traded off the Echoes. We have the Brig coming through, gets the whip off, and we get the sleep off. So Zeal is kind of stuck on that awning area. One Trick Brig, unfortunately, will be going down pretty early on, forcing last time to become the protector of Vampiric, as we now see Natural going over to the objective, playing these sightlines, playing these corners, in order to make sure that Potato Pillagers does not get more than 30% on this objective, and they're still pushing forward around this corner and trying to keep last night at bay.
Yeah, Zeal is absolutely going crazy is on this Winston. Pretty much, to me, has been way more dominant than last night, as now we see some pressure being applied. But Saya player coming through in the Echo battle again.
Continuously, it's just been a Saya's game all day here on a Lighthouse, the setup of Lighthouse here. Unfortunately, last night we were super low, forced to be expended, the nano force to be utilized just to save them out. Beautiful, oh my gosh, absolutely wonderful sleep dart coming through just to save last night in the nick of time from Vampiric. Oh my goodness, the Naturals that I would have absolutely just one-shot last night had that sleep not going off.
Yeah, you had to make sure you win that fight. That was a 2 ult commit fight. For Amphibious is only 1. So, you know, it's not, you know, the most egregious ult change there, but given you committed more to that fight, you had to win that. And now, you know, they take the advantage in the percentage on this point. Zeal, however, who's been very good with these primals, going to have one for this fight.
You know, finally getting their one up in that exchange between Saya and themselves, and I think Saya just kind of got overrun with the attack kind of being dived onto them, and we trade out Echoes once more, a little bit of a song and dance we've been seeing here between on Ilios, right? Really funnily enough. Primal ready for Zeal, looking like last night gonna be expanding their own very early on and going onto the objective. Finds Natural at the same time. We go retreat for the mini pack instead. We go for the nano onto Zeal, and that kind of puts a lot of pressure onto last night. But even more pressure is the back line of Amphibious. It's Get Wrecked, it's Rosemars. They're all down for the count. And we also I didn't mention that Get Wrecked went over to the Ana rather than the Brig, which I think, going back to the Ana Juno, I'm not really a big fan of.
Yeah, I'm not either. And the big issue that's facing the Amphibious is these supports for the side of Potato Pillagers have been unchecked. A couple of times when they have gone up there, they've had success.
I mean, Zeal's trying to check them now by going over to their own high ground, of invading enemy territory with this Primal and that all that extra health available to them. And even then, going into the air, trying to find Saya in that skybox, but I think Zeal might have gone a little overzealous in that engage. And with only 50% on the objective for Amphibious and their tank being down, we used dupe on the Ana, now we had no dupe. This should be a really clean, a really good cleanup from coming in from Potato Pillagers. Oh, with the Nano
is available though, but Nano Blade.
The orbital ray, now when no one's in it, Ray, doesn't matter. Beautiful cleanup, and even better is the stagger is gonna happen onto Zeal after the fact. Yeah, that's overtime. No one's gonna be able to touch Noodle going over to a Somber, but even then, she's just not as fast as she used to be, Ray.
Potato Pillagers taking map number 1. After a shaky map number 2, they're able to come back. Dia starts dominating in the Echo battle, and those supports for the side of Potato Pillagers were doing a great job. So there was the first fight after they initially captured the point where Zeal went up there and absolutely ate them alive. But when they regained control and Zeal went to go do it again, they were on it. They slept, antied him, and booped him off the high ground. They're like, not again.
Yeah, they're like, oh, not again. You let do it once, and it was a little warm up, and then they were on top of it, constant CC after CC after CC. I mean, I think I saw Zeo sleeping more often than not. I can't lie, but that's kind of what you're expecting as you go into an on a brig backline, which clearly kind of just has that survivability. That's why it's been played for so long. That survivability between the Ana and the Brigida, the AoE heals, the self-defensive anti-nade to get that extra healing amped up for both of them while they're within that area of healing for Brig, and then the whip shot and all that for the uptime as well. There's a reason why it's played so often. There's a reason why they're kind of considered the dive backline, and with the introduction of perks next week, now you have self nano on top of that. They're not going to die, and that's the point of that backline. And I think one of the biggest changes we could have seen was either keeping that Juno Brig in the very beginning of submap 3 with on Lighthouse, or we go to and we mirror the Ana and the Brig from Amphibious Gaming. I think either of those options would have worked out a little bit more sufficiently than the Ana and the Juno.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was definitely not like a skill support difference there, but it was definitely like a conceptual support difference there, where it's like they came in with just the better backline conceptually to be able to win that, especially when you're playing Winston compositions like that. See, that's the other thing, because like when you're playing the Juno Ana, right? So like the Brig can just throw packs, doesn't even have to aim. The Juno has to be very accurate, keep themselves in position to be able to shoot at their Winston, but also not be vulnerable to counter dives from the other team. So it makes it that much more complicated. But we're not even going to be talking about silly dive anymore. We're going to map number 2, which is everyone's favorite King's Row, which should be expecting to be some semblance of brawl and rush compositions for a map like this.
Yes, and we can get Lucio back, baby. Yes. I mean, I feel like this map is almost unplayable without that speed boost from Lucio. Juno has it as well, but at the same time, again, she just doesn't
technically couldn't Potato Pillagers ban Lucio on this map?
Okay, if they were real though, they wouldn't do that. If they were if they were like real homies, they wouldn't do that to us. Please. I experienced Lucio for I experienced no Lucio for a map, and I was very upset. But going to King's Row, again, I'm excited because I have also been seeing a resurgence of, the Ramatra, I feel like, has been kind of on the come up once again, which personally, big fan. I'm a big fan of the Ramatra meta. I don't play tank, I play support, just so there's no like tank bias. I just love Ramatra. I love his kit. I love the way he plays with support. I love his game plan. And I just think Ramatra coming back into the spotlight after a couple of months, I would say, where it was kind of just a Ramatra Juno Brig meta for a little bit alongside the Diva. I'm glad he's back, and I really do hope to see him, unless he gets banned, which I'll be like, okay, that's a sad face emoji from my.
Well, we're about to find out soon what Amphibious is going to look to ban here. As mentioned, on a map like King's Row, Brig, very interesting, because you think Brig tends to be what you think for Winston compositions, but yes, can you play Winston on a map like King's Row? Definitely, but it's not the first composition you think of.
Oh. Wait, they banned one trigger from playing Brig, please. No,
we got word from our producer saying apparently that person's a one-chick Brig and they're banning Brig.
No, one trick Brig banned themselves. Got banned from playing Brig. That's a really funny target ban. There's not like, I don't want to say target ban because it has some connotations, but nothing negative. I think it's just really funny. So banning the Brig, I get it. One trick Brig was extremely prolific with that Brigida alongside Vampiric. It was like we couldn't kill Brig at all, and I feel like any other support is a little bit easier to kill, so I don't hate it. But now we have opened up either a tank or a DPS ban, and with tank you could go with like Orisa or something, Orisa or Malga or Queen or Hazard. Like those are some pretty solid ones, but I feel like what would break any brawl comp is banning Mei. That would be breaking the laws of King's Row.
It's so weird because Lucio's going to be available, so Brawl is completely open. So now you're in a situation where it's like, it doesn't really matter what tank or DPS you ban. It's going, Brawl's still going to be an option. Diva getting a ban is very, very interesting. So definitely no dive because Winston kind of wants that Brig. No Diva available. So I definitely think we're playing Brawl, but that's a perplexing pick from the Potato Pillagers.
These are These are certainly picks. Actually, I'm gonna double check if anyone. Yeah, no, no one on Amphibious Gaming has their favorite character as Diva, so it's not like it's a targeted ban or anything. I wonder what the idea is with specifically banning Diva onto King's Row. Again, you don't really see her all that often. Maybe on first, maybe on second, but you rarely see her more often than you see a Ram or an Orisa or a Hazard or even Reinhardt. I would understand more than a Diva ban. But regardless, as we go into King's Row, with these bans in place, gonna be a little bit interesting. I feel like traditional Brawl is absolutely on the table here. Brig not really being a Brawl. She's a Brawl hero. She's not a Brawl comp character, which is always something I think is really interesting about her. So to ban her means that, yeah, there's no dive, which is okay.
Yeah, there's no dive because dive predicated on Ana getting anti-nades and having the nades. You need protection, and Brig is that protection.
Absolutely.
And now Brig is no longer available. As we saw how poorly the Ana Juno was performing, it's a tough world out there for Anas when you don't have your bully partner Brig on the field. So the Potato Pillagers defensively, they are pulling out that Ramatra, as you talked about, gaining some momentum. Not a big fan of the non-Lucio with the Ana Curie. They're going to have a lot of healing and a lot of, if anti-nades are coming to the field, those Suzus are very important. But I think when you're playing these compositions, you need the ability to speed in and out. Like we're seeing for the side of Amphibious, they are on the Reinhardt composition with the Lucio. I'm assuming these snipers will be swapping immediately after a quick, try to get a pick here.
Yeah, I mean, the damage boosted Widowmaker definitely gonna be swapping over to Noodle and Natural, both going to the Mei and the Castle. This is, we have a double speed composition here, and I think Get Wrecked. Oh no. They were basically in a 2v5, Zeo and Get Wrecked, as Noodle, Natural, and Rose were all swapping still in the spawn room. That's really bad. But we go over to a dive with double speed, which, this is very interesting, Ray. I need your input on this, expeditiously.
They're playing like a Winston Rush composition where you speed in with your Winston, you have the Genji to follow up on damage. I don't think it's going to be that good. We're going to have to see, but they do have the ability to apply pressure onto Saya, who's on this Ashe.
Oh my god, wait, last night's HP just went to 0. Like, almost immediately. I mean, couldn't get the heals off in that big bubble, which is, like, I think a really cool thing about Winston at the same time. But we get a trade-off for both Amphibious and Potato Pillagers. It is just the supports and Curious still on the objective here, and they definitely are going to be able to touch without Natural just getting the sickest click of my life onto Vampiric and only looking at Curious to do the same thing again. We get a last minute contest, but it's not going to be for long, as of course One Tree Brig has to back out of there and go around and try to defend these archways.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. As you mentioned, just last night went from like full health to nothing in an instant. So that was just a lot of damage from Natural and Noodle being able to follow up on each other. Big anti-nades coming in as well. You're going to have to be very wary of that if you're Amphibious going up against Vampiric, who's been very on point with those nades today.
And also has Nano already online before anyone else even has a chance. Beautiful Vortex coming through, slowing down Zeo just enough to get the final blow onto them. Noodle a little bit cut off, forced to use the deflect, has to use the dash out of there at the same time, and is actually going to be able to live these, but Saya player now over to the Ashe. I'm sorry, has been on the Ashe, excuse me. Now it has a really beautiful angle, but it hits directly into the flag, force it back off, and expend both the TP and the Suzu from One Trick Brig so early on. And look at the rotation coming in from Amphibious. Oh, they're in the back. Oh, wait, they're jumping them. Ray, they're jumping them. Oh my goodness, they're forced it back up. Now they have cleared this corner. We lost to the nade, but that's still okay for Amphibious to keep on going with their aggression.
No, but you've lost Noodle, so now you have no Genji Bobs now on the field. Potato Pillagers played that defensively, played that smartly, allowed Amphibious to come chase them with their cooldowns, forced them out, and then came back and strike them like a cobra.
Yeah, that Bob also from Side player on that corner was pretty much perfect to negate any sort of rear rotation that if he was taking onto Potato Pillagers. Now we have a Knight ready. We have Kitsune Rush. We also have the Blade coming up very quickly. Amphibious almost on 5 ults. at the same time, and they're going to expand one of those right now. That orbital ray coming through really strongly, forcing a big back out from the Potato Pillagers around this alleyway, and that's even better for the cart to now progress throughout one of the hardest points to honestly push through on King's Row, pretty much for free. Then we go for the Vortex, get the boop off, we have the oh my goodness, there's like 4 ults on my screen right now. We have a Deadeye, we have Annihilation, we have the Sound Barrier, and the Blade from Noodle. But still gonna be Last Night finding the value, finding the win here, even though the backline might be getting traded off with this Primal from Zeo, but not for very long, as you pop that Nemesis from once again and put the hurt onto Zeo through this barrier.
Oh, that's a big time fight win for the side of Potato Pillagers as well, because you saw how many ults we saw on the screen, right? That was an entire emptied ult bank for Amphibious, and Potato Pillagers held on to their Kitsune Rush, and they almost built to a nano. Oh, they put themselves in such a good spot. Zeal now getting off of the Winston, matching the Ramatra. I do like the Ramatra better with the Lucio, but still Juno Lucio is not a lot of heals for a Ramatra who predicates on needing a lot of heals in the front line.
And who also needs that kind of time to chill, but big punish onto Last Night. Beautiful sleep coming through onto Zeo, and now it's up to Curious and the rest of the team of Potato Pillagers to maintain this defense even without their tank. Losing one, not the best way to do that, but Last Night should be back in time for this next re-engagement, likely with the Nano or the Kitsune Rush, as they have both at their discretion. Vortex slowing down Curious for a little bit there, forcing the self-nade to come through. Beautiful deflect, disengages really quickly, and they have about 2 minutes left, and actually in some change, to get their objective back in their favor. Vampire taking a pick onto Natural is a beautiful way to start that off, and Get Red kind of cornering themselves there is another way to start bringing this objective back into Potato Pillagers' favor. We're trading off a lot here, but the numbers are still, they don't lie. Potato Pillagers were definitely up in numbers, and we get the stagger off that's even better for the side of Potato Pillagers.
And they're able to win that fight with just a Kitsune Rush alone. Amphibious did get themselves pretty high charge on a lot of ultimates, but so did the Pillagers. So they still have the Nano, and they're going to have their Blade if they want a Nano Blade. Saya can do another well-placed Bob. Both teams have a lot, so this is a crucial fight for both teams.
It's super close here, but here's the Bob coming from Saya, putting lots of pressure again on Zeo, who you can't block everything, unfortunately. 75% damage reduction, but can't do all that against Bob, and a aggressive Saya coming through with that Ash. Curious pushing everyone right back towards the archway again, holding on to his Nano Blade. I'm sorry, holding on to his, well, it could be Nano Blade, but holding on to it for a little bit longer. Gets the kill onto Natural, and that's pretty much a slight stagger onto Natural and Noodle. They're gonna get the wave respawn together, but now they have 2 DPS ults and the Anai and the Orbital to finally match the Pillagers.
Yeah, it's a good thing is they've been patient. They haven't been using any ults, but 30 seconds left. This is going to be their last attack. They're basically going to have a full war chest. They'll have all 5 with Potato Pillagers only having 3.
And Zeo pops open with that Annihilation. Double blades coming through, but one of them is nanoed, and it's going to be Curious's, helping to secure the win here in this next team fight. It is just Saya player who's going to be trading off alongside, I believe, alongside the backline of Vampiric and One Trick Break. But with 5 seconds left here, that's all that she wrote for the Amphibious Gaming push. Beautiful defense, good ult tracking, and also just good holding back on ultimates, not to use them until pretty much the last 30 seconds, which was exactly what the Pillagers needed to secure the win.
I mean, that was very smart from the Potato Pillagers, because that orbital ray was very close to being online, but wasn't online yet. Same with that sound barrier. So they're like, look, if we move in quick, we have Nano Blade, we have our Vortex of our own, so we can really get things going. And they did exactly that. So Amphibious used the 3 ults to match the 3 ults, but they didn't have any of their support ultimates online. So that Nano Blade was able to just tear through the back line and get things done.
1000%. And had that orbital ray been online and was actively in the fight, I think it would have gone a little bit of a different way, just because at least the Nano Blade and the orbital kind of give the same effect to the blade. You get that damage, and you get the damage boost, you get the healing over time at the same time, which is great. But like you said, it wasn't online. It is what it is, ain't what it ain't. Last night,
orbital ray would have shut that fight down. That would have been over. The point would have been capped. That would have been it.
And it would have been another a minute and a half on the clock, and we would have seen a different outcome. But we live to see another day for Rose and get wrecked at the end of the day. We are seeing the hazard so far from Amphibious, which I think is a good start to a change with Natural on the Torbjorn.
The Ana Juno composition, I'm not sure. Even with the hazard, I don't know if I like this. I still think the Lucio is very key to these hazard compositions. I guess we'll see how it goes, but this is kind of a more defensive version of the hazard composition because they're going to have Torb and an Ashe, so they got to make sure they can go after Noodle on this high ground, and then any flanker like Curious, for example, has to worry about that Torb turret.
I also want to give a quick reminder that Amphibious Gaming had a 5-minute time break when they originally capped this, because they did it relatively quickly. So hopefully the Pillagers can also do the same thing by capping this point really fast. Big rotations coming through. High ground now being controlled pretty much by Curious. Torb turret no longer in the fight here. Hazard Zeo actually going up towards the objective and putting all the pressure onto Curious. But when I try to save my Genji like that, they always die. So I don't know what kind of protagonist effect One Trick Brig has, but somehow Curious does not die in that small room. The Torb turret, however, once again getting called out by Saya, and One Trick Brig kind of all by their lonesome. Vampire taking care of Natural in the back line there, and Zeo getting slept, getting rail shot, and that is pretty much honestly the first 2 ticks, probably the third tick as well, being put in favor of the Potato Pillagers. Oh, and then you get a stagger onto Rose? That's even better.
And they get Noodle out as well, man. If they clean up these other 3 picks, this is going to be so much free card space for them. But that turret was able to deter Saya just enough to be able to get those players out for Amphibious. So they'll be able to retake a fight, hopefully on the bookstore corner. Jagged Wall coming up, but again, an Anti-Nade forcing Zeal back.
Yeah, this Ana from the Vampiric on this Ana is going to be Zeal's biggest nightmare, just because how proficient they are, but also just how good Ana is into that hazard. But we have a Nano onto Saya. Doesn't even have the overclock yet, but can absolutely rip it right here. We did just lose last night, mind you, but we're still going in with the aggression onto Zeal, who is just one, but I mean, that block, the shards are also so good, and even then Vampiric getting them so low to almost sub 100 health, and that even still isn't enough to deter a hazard from being one of the best tanks in the game right now.
Yeah, that was a big team fight loss for the Pillagers. They committed 2 ults to that fight, didn't gain anything, and Amphibious didn't use any ults of their own, as now they're going to be coming up on almost 4 of them. But they have a lot of time they have to continue to drain, so they got to use these ults judiciously.
I love the wall off on the shield there. Very smart coming in from Zeal there. In this engage. Beautiful anti from Vampiric again, but it doesn't really matter. Zaya gets traded off for Get Wrecked. We also lose Natural, who was kind of in the front line as a Torbjorn and gets picked up by Kira so early on. Downpour comes through from Zeo, puts, honestly, last line in a really uncomfortable position here, and actually forced them to have to expend the Annihilation, and actually might not be for anything if you can fade out fast enough for the timer to go away. Oh, we go straight back in. We have the overclock from Noodle, putting all the pressure again onto the backline, but Zeo once more getting anti-nated, and then you're in the front of Annihilation? Yeah, that's clipped. 4 people onto the objective here. They're going over to the point B so fast, and without Zeo or Rose, all they have is this Nano from Get Wrecked, and I don't think they're looking to use it anytime soon, as we have the Nano onto last night. Oh, Ray, it might be over. Then that Raymatch was all over this Torb, and no one goes to touch this except for Noodle, who's a little bit too late on the pickup. The Potato Pillagers have put themselves at a comfortable 2-0 lead and on match point of the series.
Yeah, I look back to that final fight. I think that was a not wise decision from Zeal to go back in there. I would have let that Annihilation counter go down. You end up losing Zeal in that fight. They used all of their ults to try and hold there, and it just wasn't working out in their favor. All the momentum just rushed out of them, and that was pretty much it. Potato Pillagers now up 2-0, trying to make this a nice 3-0 night.
They definitely are trying to do so, but between map 2 and 3, we're going to go to a very quick break before we get ourselves situated for Runasapi, where things could absolutely turn around in favor of Amphibious Gaming. But before we get to that, we gotta go to a very quick break, so we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. And we're back 2-0 so far in favor of the Potato Pillagers, making us go over to our map 3 of Runasapi. And this might be it for the Amphibian Gaming if they don't get their act together. This is the dive map. This is where things can absolutely go favorably for them, because we saw a glimmer of that dive come to fruition on round 2 of Ilios. I need it back. I need it more than air, Ray.
Yeah, Runasapi's an interesting map, at least from the recent things I've casted. I've either seen Hazards, Divas, Orissas every now and then, or Winston. So I think there's a decent amount that you can play here, but really it's going to be determined by what we get for our ban phase on this map from both the teams. So go ahead and get to it.
For sure. And honestly, if I was Amphibious Gaming, as they have first pick being the loser of last map, I would almost in fact go for like literally just a straight Winston ban or an Ana ban, as those have been the one of the two most prominent characters being played from the side of the Potato Pillagers, especially the Ana. So if we can ban the Ana, force Vampiric onto the Kiri or a Juno, something along those lines, I think that'd be really beneficial for Amphibious Gaming. However, we could also see maybe a Genji ban to kind of deter the dives coming in from oh, there it is, I called it. Oh my god, Ana ban. I can't believe it. My wife, she's gone. They killed her.
Did you cheat?
No, I didn't. On my mama. It's still spoiled for me. You don't
All right.
Swear.
I got you. That's okay. I got you.
Swear.
No, I do think the Ana is probably a fair shout. It takes away the ability to play the Winston or any kind of dive that they want to be able to play. So, and Vampiric has been on it with those nades, and the nanos have just been devastating in a lot of situations. So, how do the Potato Pillagers respond is going to be the big question. They can only ban a tanker damage. Last time they banned Diva, and we were like, what the heck? So I don't even know what to think here.
Me neither. And it's going to be something, probably, again, something pretty much out of left pocket. Unless they ban, honestly, what tanks have we really seen Potato Pillagers been comfortable on? We've seen them be comfortable on a Winston. We've seen them be comfortable on the Ram. A little bit of Hazard. And it looks like we're banning Zarya. Okay, again, what? Does someone like Zarya on this team? Like, Zeal's most played hero is Winston. No, it's not. It's not Zarya. The Ana ban, I get. I'm looking directly at Vampiric. I'm looking at them. I'm like, I don't like you. I don't want to play against you. No more Ana for you. And it's like taking candy from a baby. I understand.
So, Zarya? My thought maybe was, since they saw the Ana ban, then they're not going to really be able to play Winston. You just cannot play a Winston composition without an Ana. Maybe they're wanting to play Diva, and Zarya is the big counter to Diva.
Which is fair. Absolutely. If you want to go out on a limb and go for the Diva, and really the only tank that can consistently chuck you is that Zarya, ban her immediately. And honestly, Zarya has kind of also been on that weird kind of come up. I've been seeing her a lot more often. Yeah. In most, not even just my ranked games, but also in the scrim environment, where even before or after perk, she's starting to become kind of a threat. With the high charge, her extra bubbles really good for herself to kind of she can self-sustain for arguably a pretty long time if she's selfish with her bubbles too. So I get it completely.
As we will be finding out the answer to all of our questions here in just a second, as we get a nice overview of Runasapi. This could be it for Potato Pillagers. They win this map. They are leaving week 3 with a dub in their win column for Amphibious. They're going to have to reverse sweep the rest of the way. As I'm not talking about Amphibious because that definitely looks like what they're going to run. So this is classic Queen compositions, man. Lucio with the Kiri and having that Genji to follow up on the damage and having a Sojourn as well. So going up against a Juno Brig, which is no surprise since there's no Ana, and they're going to have Saya play the Sojourn.
I am a big fan of Junker Queen comps. 1,000%. I was talking about them earlier behind the scenes with you, with a double speed backline with a Junker Queen. I love it, but You know, Queen here, so strong. Here comes the Carnage onto the aggressing last night, going onto the back line. We dash out. Last night in a really bad spot, gets pulled back towards the fight as the rest of the team of Vampiric and One Trick Brig are scrambling to keep their tank alive. A bit of bomb, being pushed already in favor of Amphibious Gaming into enemy territory, and Zeo has been pretty much above the above 400 health the entire time here, while last night is fighting for his life as much as they possibly can. But Saya gonna be the first one to get a pick onto their mirror match against Natural from this little coast area, and having these long sidelines are so good. And just like that, the rest of the team of Amphibious Gaming is gonna be falling right on over, leaving the Queen just for last to get that last respawn with Rose. Oh, not even gonna get a little bit staggered with Noodle.
That's so crazy. I'm watching this fight just play out, and obviously the Juno Brig's gonna have more healing than the Kiri Lucio. I'm watching this. I'm just like, it feels like last night is not doing a whole lot, but he's just staying alive long enough to allow the DPS to pop off.
And sometimes that's okay. As when you're a tank, you kind of be like, you know what? I'm not the star of the show. Let my DPS pop off, and Saya and Curious as your DPS will in fact do so with gusto. I love to see it. Last night coming in, gets pulled in uncomfortably away from the shield here. Zeal's super close in on that engage against the Ramatra. And last night, now opting, you know what? When want me in your team, I'll be in the team, holding block and letting Vampiric charge up this oh my god, this orbital ray as soon as possible. But unfortunately, gets antied by that rampage from Zeal, and that is a beautiful reversal from Amphibious Gaming. We lost Noodle, but Genji's pretty fast. He'll come back eventually.
I do think, all things considered, if you're the Pillagers, you did get out the Rampage, so you're not going to have to, because Rampage was kind of used when Juno ult first came out, was an anti-orbital ray ult, but now you're not going to have to be facing it. They will be able to take the lead meterage-wise, but Potato Pillagers will have a great re-engage once they get back.
Well, they actually are able to find the lead here on the bot. Orbital ray coming through from Vampiric, coupled with, opposing overclock coming in from Natural, but unfortunately nothing much happens. We do get the shot coming in from One Trick Brig, finds the kill off, and honestly it's just up to Saya to help clean up the rest of the team here, especially onto Noodle, who really just came back. Little sidestep action. We do not see Rose find the win at the end of the day. 30 meters on the board here. Gonna be easily capped out though.
Yeah, and they were able to do that. 2 ults for basically what was 2 ults for Amphibious. So things are even. The question is, do they get the forward spawns here? It's very important on a map like this. The thing to keep in mind with a map like Runa Sapi, unlike a lot of the other push maps, it's never over. I don't care how big of a distance lead you have. I've seen it come back plenty of times on this map.
I mean, people always say, you know, the most important parts of a push map are the last like 3 minutes. The first 6, okay, whatever. Yeah, cute. You got to checkpoint.
No,
you got past
I
65.
agree, but for some reason with a map like Runa Sapi, like if you get a big enough distance difference on like New Queen Street or Colosseo, it's so hard to come back from that. This map, I've seen so many teams come back from large distance gaps.
Yeah, all the time. And we also, I think Amphibious Gaming kind of made a misplay there. Used the Dragon Blade when they were already down 3 people. Noodle does get a look back onto Vampiric, shutting down the building up of another orbital. And with only Brig heals, last night can only hope, can dream to survive the onslaught of the Queen Rush here. Orbital Ray, not Orbital Ray, Soundbearer almost ready for Get Wrecked in preparation for Curious's Dragon Blade, which was what I was personally worried about for a while there.
Yeah, but forward spawns available for Potato Pillagers. They're going to be back very quickly, so I think the smart decision was just to get out of there and re-engage now.
Oh, big Rampage gets 4! Curious so low! There's no Brig either! Curious might have to just hold the blade here and maybe disengage, but the annihilation will instead be ripped right open onto Natural. And we have to be able to queue for our team here, and Zeo not going to be able to get that kind of care, as of course the bot is what's needed to hopefully get to this forward checkpoint, but not with the aggression of a tank now on the entirety of your back line. And again, no blade utilized from Curious, still holding on to it, probably to use in tandem with that now built up orbital ray.
Yeah, not only that, and yeah, as you mentioned, orbital ray is now built up, and Saya's looming with this overclock. The sound barrier can only do so much. So, as long as Potato Pillagers are smart, I would use the orbital ray, force out the sound barrier, and then re-engage with the blade.
But here's the Blade coming through. Last night, not gonna be able to, survive to see the light of day. Sunberry gonna be expended in response to that Blade. Curious not to get too much off of it at the very least. And Rose also coming in with her own continued rush very early on. Very last minute dash there. Still, unfortunately, I think kind of staggering themselves as the bot now runs away back with Amphibious Gaming. I think the ult bank for Amphibious is starting to look much better than we last saw map 3 here. Or map 2, excuse me. Oh, we're just going into the next fight.
Yeah, as we already see it re-engaged because of the forest spawns. Last night already finds one as Get Wrecked is going back to the spawn room. Now they're rotating around on the point. Not a whole lot they can do. Big Ravenous Vortex gets Zeal solo. Forces out the shout way earlier than they were hoping. Noodles found one, but doesn't matter. Curious got Zeal, Junker Queen out of that fight. That's going to have to force Amphibious Gaming back.
It does, and honestly, really good shutdown of the overclock from Saya from Noodle. The overclock from Saya, and Noodle getting the kill there. I mean, great, beautiful. Now Pillagers doesn't have any ults besides the Rally and the Annihilation kind of coming up. Whereas Amphibious, they have 3.5, almost 4 with that Rampage coming up very early on. But we're gonna have a very quick pause session coming in from the side of the Potato Pillagers, and hopefully that gets wrapped up in a couple of minutes as this is getting really intense. 3.5 minutes left, Ray. I hope they come back really fast with whatever's going on.
Yeah, the thing is, I think Amphibious has the ults in their bank. As long as they spread them out enough, like I'd be looking to maybe 2-1 fight to the next fight. They should be able to get themselves 2 fights here. That will not only get them it'll get them the forward spawns. It might get them enough distance to be able to take the lead. It just depends on where they take this next fight and where the bot is when it ends and how much distance you can gain. But I think if you're the side of Potato Pillagers, it's all about forcing out as many ults as possible because it's not likely you're going to be able to win these fights. So try and dry fight as much as you can and get ults off of the board.
Absolutely. Completely agree that you want to get rid of the rush. You want to get rid of the threat of that Rampage coming in. Because honestly, once you turn that corner in favor of Amphibious Gaming, once you turn that corner around and you have that long slight line where usually everyone likes to fight in, that Rampage gets 10 times the value. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to hit at least 4, if not all 5 of players of the opposing team. Which honestly, we've been seeing a lot of consistency coming in with 4-man Rampages, big bleeds, big antis as well coming in. That's kind of what's been winning Amphibious a lot of these team fights in the middle of Runasapi more often than not. So yeah, it's looking hopeful for Amphibious to take us to a map 4, which I would love to do so. And I want to see more of this Queen comp because map 4 is New Junk City, so that's kind of where Queen does reign supreme, and I really want to see them, find their niche, find their footing against honestly the Titan of Potato Pillagers.
I mean, I don't really want to rain on your parade, but if we go to a map number 4, if I'm Potato Pillagers, I'm banning Junker Queen. Like, I'm like,
No.
This is like the best Junker Queen map. You guys just took a map from us on Junker Queen. Nuh-uh. I'd be forcing you to try and play our Ramatra game on that map. Like, no, thank you.
You're right. They would do the they would ban Junker Queen. I was so sad. My problem is that I keep forgetting that there is bans, even though I've been casting the entirety of season 15 so far. But I'm so used to just being like, boom, Queen, and they can be like, actually, we're not gonna play Queen. We're still on that, quick pause. I hope everything's okay. One time, in middle of a match, a very important match, my headset just died actually, and I didn't call for a pause because I actually forgot that we could. And I fought like a whole fight as Moira with no audio. It was horrible. I was reading the subtitles to see what was going on in the mid-fight, so I'm glad they called for a pause. Should be going in relatively soon. We have a bunch of ults ready again for Amphibious. And honestly, the Overclock Natural might be looking real strong here if they pop it open. Pop it early on this high ground.
See them wrapping around the corner. Looks like the fight's gonna take place here in the mid ground, so as long as these fights go well, a lot of distance can be gained for Amphibious.
Oh, there it is, and they flip it around, and they flip the areas here. We went from the low ground to the high ground. Now Natural looking down towards last night found a bunch of easy picks with the overclock, and there it is. That's the one fight I needed from the side of Amphibious Gaming. Now they can continue onwards. They did expend 3 there, that being the Blade.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so 3 not what you would have wanted, but holding on to the Rampage is the big deal. Like, that was probably the most important ult to hold on to, because that can have the highest impact by itself.
Absolutely. And we also have Annihilation, and you can kind of just cancel it out with that Rampage, put all the pressure onto Last Night, but now they're in the backline, forces the Suzu out, and there is the Annihilation. The shout comes in from Zeo to help out the rest of the team. Anti-nade comes through because of that Rampage from Zeo, and Last Night no longer gets any sort of value with, of course, that Annihilation. Curious gets taken out before Zeo does, which is absolutely massive, and unfortunately Saya is not going to be able to find any sort of last remaining picks here, and Amphibious Gaming is still looking strong, only really having to worry about the rally next fight.
Yeah, but they have to worry about a rally and a orbital ray. You will have sound barrier most likely this next fight to deal with a lot, but again, these DPS ultimates are far, but they're looming, so depending on how long this fight goes on.
Oh, big rally coming in, forces everybody off this staircase, giving a little bit of high ground pressure, giving in favor of the Potato Pillagers. Now we're just putting in all of the pressure, getting it from this again, the rally. Now orbital ray being built up in the meantime is even better. Torpedoes come through, they land onto Noodle, and during all of this, Ray, they have yet to be able to recapture the meterage in their favor. 4-meter difference between the two of them with less than a minute, almost less than a minute left on the clock here. This is where Ruinous Obby starts to become really dangerous to play into.
Yeah, but that was smarter than they completely disengaged, got away from that orbital ray, and kept their support ults. That was huge.
And they re-engage with the support ults. Here comes the continued rush, but the blade from Curious does find one. Now Saya gonna be coming in with the assist. With that overclock, boom, bam, bop. That's 2 down. One more after the flag comes through from Noodle, and the objective has now been laid in the middle of the point, and they push it to negate the forward spawn that Noodle would have gotten otherwise.
And a big time play coming in from both those DPS, Saya and Curious. Actually, Ajax get wrecked in that fight, so they completely lost out on that sound barrier shielding. However, that was an expensive fight for the Pillagers, so Amphibious can re-engage with their DPS ultimates and their Rampage. Folks, this map is not over. 2 fights for Amphibious will get them this map win.
And look at the disengage here. They're going back to around the corner. Goes for the Carnage. Pops a Nemesis form. Boom. Lots of pressure, but even more pressure is that 3-man Rampage onto Vampiric, onto Curious. Curious so low, but Last Night looking a little bit worse for wear. Curious now no longer a factor in the fight. Natural forcing the backline to retreat through the coastline, and Noodle is going to be taken down, but not after Night. Overtime has now been activated. 1 person on the objective. It's just 1 fight needed for Potato Pillagers, and having Natural be staggered out like this is a beautiful way to start things off. And they're going straight in, right? It's just 3 people on the objective, and they're going in for the fight against Zeo, against Rose. Rose so low, goes for the Suzu. Zeo does take out 1 trade break, but it's just the Queen. I'm not confident that we're going to be able to see Noodle come back with that Dragon Blade, but we see it with the Dragon Blade come through. Gets on Vampiric, and it's a 1-for-1 trade off. Curious goes in, has the deflect, and we see the Diva from Last Night come in to save the day. Just Tracer, but no blinks left, no recalls left. Is a W for Potato Pillagers, a 3-0 in the series, and a heart-stopping Runasapi finish.
To me, really what that came down to for the side of Amphibious was they kept blowing the fights where they had huge ult advantages, like the Ajax coming through. That would have probably turned things around, where they used 3 ults and only had the Rampage for the following fight. Every time they had a big advantage in that ult economy, they didn't come through with what they needed to, and I think that was the big mistake for them and why they lost that map. And now they're, big loss in the series.
Big loss, but to be fair, Potato Pillagers, like you mentioned earlier, they were really strong last season
for a reason.
Yeah, they are a strong team here in the Open Division, and for a good reason. You just saw they're so flexible. They have a good die. They have a good brawl. We haven't seen much of a poke, but to be fair, the map pools given to us for this week don't really give too much to poke. So hopefully we'll be seeing that next week. In week 4, but with the end of this week's match for them, they are now open to showing us what they've been cooking with the perk system as well, which I am super excited about. But we're gonna go to
go before the mid-season playoffs too, so that's gonna be very exciting. Especially that we'll have perks going into the mid-season playoffs. That could change a lot of things. It's going to make it that much more interesting, folks. So make sure you continue to tune in for the CGL action. It's only going to heat up more and more.
And as we say that, we are going to be going to a very quick break, get our interview from one of the victors, and then conclude. But before that, we're going to a very quick break, let me get our bad person, and we'll be right back.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
And back with not just one, but two victors from the Potato Pillagers. I am very, very happy to introduce Last Night and Vampiric onto the screen here. Guys, how are we feeling? What's the vibe? Little 3-0 victory. How are we feeling about this win?
I'm feeling good, man. A good start off to the season. Loved it. They put up a really good fight. They had me on their toes here on Runasapi. Really had me stressing, but it's a good game nonetheless.
I agree. I felt like they caused me to play sloppy sometimes, and I was really intimidated by their play style. So I have big respect for the other team, and I'm really proud of my team for sticking in there and doing as good as I wanted them to.
All right, I'm going to start this. I'm a tank player, so this one's going to be more pointed toward Last Night, especially on that last map of Runasapi. But I was watching it, and as I'm casting, I'm just like, man, at least for those first couple of fights, it felt like you were just there and surviving long enough to allow your TPS to pop off. Like, man, their Junker Queen was just throwing so much damage, and you were just like, shield, shield, heal me, shield. Like, how was that for you?
Dude, it's literally just, it's crazy now. Like, that queen had ult every fight because of me, but it's, oh my god. Like, my health bar going up and down, up and down. I literally cannot thank my supports enough, man, for keeping me alive through all that. Because it's literally without my Juno, without my Brig, I wouldn't be able to do anything to walk up and do damage onto nobody if it wasn't for those two. So it's a big shout out to my supports.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, you guys did show a lot of versatility whenever it came to the Winston comps. I huge shout out to the backline. So Vampiric and One Trick Brig, you guys were crazy. Like, we're watching Ilios and we're just like, man, when we got to Lighthouse, we're like, after the second fight where they took you guys off of that high ground, it's almost like a flip switch and you go, not again. You guys absolutely, you want to talk about just the connection you have with One Trick Brig and how you guys work together and how that goes with your team?
You know, it's funny you say that because it was actually, believe it or not, last night that told us to stay up there and fortify that high ground. And honestly, I love having a person like Berg on my team because he's not scared of anything, not scared of any hero. He will sit there, he'll protect me with his life, and I just trust him to do whatever I want. That's how I'm able to find so much damage in cooldowns.
No, seriously, we need that Brig player in our lives. I can't lie. As a fellow Ana main, yeah, I got you. We all need that Brig to protect us both in and out of the game. But to not keep you guys here any longer, I'm gonna let you guys both answer this by yourselves. Who do you want to give a shout out to on the broadcast? We can start with last night if you want.
Shout out as in like to just dub
anyone,
anybody, or
whoever you want.
Players, any family,
parents,
whatever.
I mean, of course. I mean, I absolutely just straight up casters, 2 Try Hard Roar. Big fan, bro. Big fan. Like once I seen he was using casting, I was like, oh, I gotta lock in for 2 Try Hard Roar. And of course to my team, man. I cannot thank my backline enough for enabling me to do what I can do on Armatra, even on King's Road, Ilios with the Winston, and then even just that map right there where the picks I found couldn't have done without my supports.
And for me, I think I'd like to give a special shout out to my friend Chisholm. He's going through a really hard time right now, and I wish him the best.
Well, we wish him the best of luck from us as well. Hope he's gonna be feeling much better. But also, big congrats from us to you guys once again. 3-0 victory is nothing to scoff at. So I'm really happy for you guys. That you guys continue to show out how well-rounded, how talented you guys are as a team. Not even just from this season, but also last season. I didn't forget. Don't worry. So really good stuff from you guys once more. And I'll let you guys go. Have a wonderful night. Okay. And once again, tell the team congrats from us to them.
Thank you so
Absolutely
much.
will do.
I appreciate you guys for having us.
Of course.
You guys have a great night.
Yep, you guys as well.
And Ray, that's all we have. We had a really banger 3-map series, 3-0 for the Potato Pillagers. It was super close that round 3. I mean, we really could have gone either way with some slight adjustments, and we could have had different outcome, but regardless.
Yeah, Ilios and Runasapi, they could have gone either way. King's Row was the only one that was a little bit one-sided, but the other 2 maps, it was up to the end on there. Like, it was a really good series.
Completely agree. And I actually can't wait to see both these teams come up again. I mean, Potato Pillagers looking really solid for their going into playoffs. Amphibious Gaming maybe had a little bit of things to tweak in those VOD reviews and those scrims. And I really do think they're a contender for one of the higher teams we have here at the same time for the open tier. I mean, even they said they kind of gave us run for their money a little bit. They scared us, which I think is super important to note. But that is all we have. Thank you to my producer and my observer for dealing with us, for having the stream up for us at the same time. Ray, thank you for casting with me as always. And that is all we have. Any last words before we head out?
Yeah, just make sure continue to look out for stream pings. We go live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We try and get as much access as we can. I'll be live tomorrow for EU in the morning and the afternoon. So we'll have EU and NA tomorrow. Same with Sunday. So keep an eye out for all our streams. And with that, we'll go ahead and bid you guys adieu. Thank you for watching, everyone out there. And we will see you guys on the next broadcast.